tourism, who will be looking to welcome back more tourists from abroad. But what is the picture? Well, Julia Bue-Said is the Chief Executive of Advantage Travel Partnership, the UK's largest network of independent travel agents. Julia, where are you at, and what type of a boost do you think this is going to give to the industry?
Good evening, Stephen. So, as you said there, after 2 years, we finally have no restrictions for returning back into the UK, which is, without question, a really positive step forward. And in fact, we have seen since the beginning of the year, the industry really start to try and rebuild itself. Confidence has been back as more destinations started to open up for travel also. So we're in a better place than we were, but there's a long road. And as you quite rightly point out, this is for travel back into the UK. So us Brits coming back from holiday, we don't have to worry about any restrictions anymore. But, most of the world is still under restrictions. Well, parts of the world are still closed.
Yeah, but where have I heard that before? And listen, it might not happen this year, but I have heard this before. And people go off and they get caught because a new variant comes from nowhere. And boom, people are caught in these dreadful quarantine hotels.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, the government have now, been very clear that they are not looking whatsoever to reinstate any of these measures again. The quarantine hotels have, they've been disbanded. The red lists have been disbanded, but they will have a toolbox of measures in place in the event of any, variants having to, if there are variants again. But we're in a very different place now. I was listening to the conversation you had before about vaccines. We're in a different place to where we were 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I think, as we have seen with all the evidence that has come through, travel, closing borders and these restrictions, they maintain variants for a couple of days. I think the research that came through that was done by the airline group. So we are in a different place. We need to be positive. We need to start moving on with our lives, and we need to start, taking the right measures to open up international travel.
And what about, Julia, Spain, France, Greece, some of the big family holiday destinations? Is it back to business as usual going there?
Not really yet. Some destinations are slightly easier. I mean, Spain, we had a absolutely ridiculous scenario where up until literally a few weeks ago, they would not allow any children who were not vaccinated or anybody that wasn't vaccinated at all to enter Spain. You still, as an adult, have to be vaccinated. Children can now travel without being vaccinated. So really, from a family market perspective, put a real dampener on that. So there are still restrictions in place for some of those core destinations, but we are absolutely seeing literally month by month, week by week, restrictions are being eased, so making it much easier for families and travellers to start thinking about booking their holidays.
What about the war in Ukraine? Has it had any impact?
Not yet. I mean, it does create clearly, a complete uncertainty. And I think with the travel industry is a case in point that, unfortunately, any geopolitical activity creates, confidence, has a dampener on confidence all the time. So, yeah, with that, we've got that. We've got the fuel crisis. So there are lots of bumps on the road, but certainly heading in the right direction. But it will clearly make some people feel slightly nervous. And I think the key point there is just thinking about where you want to go, where you want to travel to, booking through a professional travel agent. But I have to say also we have some regional issues with even in places like Northern Ireland, where a lot of my members, for example, who have had really tough times, had really severe restrictions there. And with the administration not sitting, the executives not sitting, some of the grants that have been promised to some of these travel agents are just not coming through, completely ignored by people like Gordon Lyons, even though Jeffrey Donaldson has been really supportive. So some really tough localised issues for the travel industry, Stephen, which we're really trying to support, but it's really difficult for some of these businesses.
Well, look, I've got a 5-day-a-week show on BBC Northern Ireland, so why don't I link up with you and we will help tell that story in Northern Ireland. I'll do that for you, no problem, all right? So we'll be in touch.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Stephen.
No problem. Thank you, Julian. Night to you.
Thank you.
5 to 11. Let's move on.